All right, let's talk about a financial meltdown. One so huge it almost took down an entire empire. And no, I'm not talking about 2008. We're going way, way back, almost 2,000 years, right into the heart of ancient Rome.
So just think about this for a second. What if the 2008 crisis, all the chaos, the panic, happened nearly 2,000 years earlier? It sounds kind of crazy, right? But what if I told you that all the things we think of as modern, bank runs, credit freezes, fire sales, even a massive government bailout, weren't invented last century? Nope. They were all part of this catastrophic panic that absolutely rocked Rome in the year 33 AD.
And when you put them side by side, it's just uncanny. The parallels are incredible. You've got a credit crunch? Check. People desperately selling off their assets for pennies on the dollar? Check. A full-blown run on the banks? Check. And then a last-ditch government bailout to save the day? Big check. I mean, the names, the technology, the togas, that's all different. But the financial DNA, it's pretty much identical.
Okay, so the big question is, how? How did Rome, the superpower of the ancient world, get itself into this mess? How did it get so close to the edge? Well, the truth is, the stage was set way before the panic actually hit. The whole economy was basically a tinderbox, just waiting for a match.
On the surface, things looked great. The Roman economy was booming. But underneath, there were some really serious cracks in the foundation. For starters, there just wasn't enough cold hard cash, what they called specie, circulating. All the real wealth, especially for the elites, was locked up in land. And get this, senators were legally banned from being moneylenders. But of course, they found a way around it. They used these intermediaries, creating this massive, completely unregulated shadow banking system. It was all built on personal loans, with land as the collateral. So what you had was a system that was super leveraged and, honestly, incredibly fragile.
Right, so you've got the tinderbox. Now all you need is the spark. And in 33 AD, that spark came from a totally unexpected place. It was the emperor himself who lit the match, all by trying to enforce an old, dusty law pretty much everyone had forgotten about.
And here it is, the culprit, the Julian Law. This thing was an old rule, dating all the way back to Julius Caesar's time. The whole point was to keep money inside Italy, to stop it from flowing out to the provinces. So Emperor Tiberius, he gets worried about this capital flight, and he decides, you know what? We're going to enforce this law strictly. On paper, it probably seemed like a smart, patriotic move, but he had absolutely no clue what kind of chaos he was about to kick off.
And here's the kicker. This is the part that changes everything. To follow the law, all these lenders suddenly needed a massive amount of cash to buy up Italian land. And where were they going to get that cash? Well, they had only one option. Call in all their loans now, immediately. And here's the truly disastrous part. They all had to do it at the exact same time.
And from there, the dominoes just started to fall, and with terrifying speed. First, panic hits the lenders, so they start calling in every loan they can. The problem is, the debtors don't have cash, they have land, so they're forced to sell. But when everybody is selling land at the same time, what happens? The market completely craters, prices just plummet. And within a single month, a huge banking house goes under. And that's when the panic spills out into the streets. We're talking a city-wide bank run.
This is what experts call a death spiral. It's this vicious, self-reinforcing cycle. Think about it. The loans get called in, which forces people to dump their assets. That fire sale crashes the prices. The collapsing prices cause widespread panic and bank runs. And the bank runs, they force even more loans to be called in. Once that wheel starts turning, it is incredibly hard to stop.
So Rome's economy is an absolute freefall. The whole system is on the brink, and everyone, from the richest senator to the smallest merchant, is looking to one person, the emperor. And what Tiberius does next? It's not just groundbreaking for his time. It literally becomes the playbook for how to handle a financial crisis for the next 2,000 years.
He steps in, and he brings with him 100 million sestertii, straight from the imperial treasury. Now, I know 100 million sestertii just sounds like a big number. So let's put that in perspective. This was a staggering amount of money. We're talking enough to pay the entire yearly salary for over 100,000 legionaries. This wasn't a band-aid. This was a massive, system-shocking injection of cash. And the plan itself was, well, it was genius and shockingly modern. Step 1, he pumps that money directly into the reputable banks. You got to get liquidity back into the system. Step 2, for the regular folks getting crushed, he offered interest-free loans for 3 years. But there was a smart catch. You had to put up land as collateral, worth double the loan amount, so the government was protected. The whole goal was simple but brilliant. Stop the fire sales, unfreeze the credit markets, and get money flowing again.
So did it work? You bet it did. It worked perfectly. Land prices stabilized, they stopped their free fall, the credit markets thawed out and started working again, and, maybe most importantly, public confidence came flooding back. Just like that, the panic was over. Okay, so this is a super cool story from history, right? But it's so much more than that. The crisis of 33 AD gives us these incredible lessons about how money, markets, and people work. Lessons that are just as true today as they were 2 millennia ago. And here's the big aha moment, the thing that should make you sit up and go, wow. What Tiberius did, injecting a huge amount of government money into the financial system to get it moving again, we have a name for that today. It's called quantitative easing, or QE. It is the exact same tool that central banks around the world used to fight the 2008 crisis. He invented it.
So what are the big takeaways from all this? A few timeless truths, really. First, credit is the absolute lifeblood of any advanced economy. When it stops, everything stops. Second, leverage. It can make you rich, but it also creates extreme fragility. It's a double-edged sword. Third, you can never forget about human psychology. Fear and greed are what drive these cycles time and time again. And finally, and maybe most importantly, sometimes things get so bad that only a lender of last resort can step in and prevent a total collapse.
Look, if there's one single thing to remember from this whole story, it's this. When credit freezes, the system dies. The Emperor Tiberius figured that out almost 2,000 years ago. And in doing so, he wrote the first chapter of a playbook we are still using to this very day.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last big question to chew on. We can see the patterns so clearly, right? Boom, bust, panic, bailout. It happens again and again and again. So if history makes the pattern this obvious, are we actually destined to just keep repeating it, or can we finally break the cycle? That's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.